Okay, so now I will talk about Intestate Succession Act in Singapore. So if you are not Singaporean or you have assets overseas, then it doesn't apply. Okay, but this is normally what we do. So first, you have 100% of asset. Okay, so if you are not around, right? If you have spouse, then spouse will take 100%. That's the case without any children or any other complication. So if you have children, then the children will share the 50% with the spouse. I mean, that 50% goes to the spouse and 50% will be shared by the children. Okay, if two is 25% each. Okay, and then if you don't have a spouse but you have children, right? The children will get 100%. So what's the implication of that if you are single parents? Okay, the implication is that, so let's say I'm a single parent, I have two kids, maybe 2 years old, right? Then if I'm not around, 100% of my assets goes to my kids, right? But they are too young to handle the assets, right? So then, who is the legal guardian? Natural parent, right? The natural parent is the legal guardian. So what if the natural parent gets married again? So my 100% should flow to my kids, and my money is held by the legal guardian, which means my money actually goes to my ex-spouse and the family. So if that's something you don't want to have, then you have to plan for it. Okay. So if you do not have children, but you have a spouse and parents, so parents will share 50% and spouse will be sharing 50%. Okay, that's simple. Okay, so if without spouse or children, then parents 100%. Okay, then goes to, if let's say you don't have anybody, then only siblings, the siblings will share 100%. If one sibling is not around, let's say you have 5 siblings and one is not around, and the money will go to the person's estate. That means whoever who's receiving the estate, they will be receiving his or her share. Okay. Then after that, if you don't have anybody, no spouse, no children, no parents, no siblings, then it goes to grandparents. And what's the implication of that? The grandparents might be too old, right, to handle the money. Maybe not able to handle. So that's why a lot of old people getting cheated, right? Because when you have if you're an old person having a lot of money, then people will be targeting you, right? So that is, if let's say that could be potentially the case, then we need to plan for it to make sure that, okay, maybe they're just the beneficiary of the money, but they're not the owner, so that they don't become the target, which potentially trust can solve the problem. Okay, then if grandparents are not around, then will be uncle and aunts. And if there's no one, if that's the case, then thank you very much. Government will be very happy to receive the money. Okay, and I want to focus on another case, which I actually wrote an article about it, which is this article, actually can be found online. So what happens with, let's say, husband and wife dying at the same time, basically. So there was this article that's about like Singaporean spouse staying in New Zealand and died in a car accident, and they died at the same time. Then in terms of Intestate Succession Act, what happens, like which one gets what, right? So number one is we need to figure out who actually dies first. So the older one, so let's say husband is the older one and wife is the younger one, the older one is always deemed to die first. So in terms of the asset flow, the older one's asset, so husband's asset, actually 50% goes to the wife, right? And 50% goes to his parents because they don't have kids. Okay? So then that's the estate. Then wives, because when you talk about wife, the spouse is already not around, right? So 100% of wife's asset goes to parents. So that's why you see this kind of distribution. The husband's parents will get 50% of the asset, whereas the wife's parents will get 150. That's the household. So that's roughly what will happen.